The race to the playoffs continues for the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. There's just 3 races remain to set the field for the playoffs. The tricky triangle of Pocono Raceway, about 2 hours west of New York City, will leave the drivers asking what turn for. The challenge of 3 distinctly different corners and 3... The race to the playoffs continues for the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. It's just 3 races remain to set the field for the playoffs. The tricky triangle of Pocono Raceway will leave the drivers asking what turn for, and the challenge of 3 distinctly different corners and 3 different straightaway lengths will leave the field scrambling at each turn. Last year, Ronnie Osmer picked up the win and his only victory in the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series action. And this year, well, we're asking who's going to pick up the win for this one. But either way, I'm Cameron Rich with Carlos Costa in the booth, manning the cameras and providing some commentary as well. And we here at 3WOD TV are very excited to bring you this race. This is one of the most unique tracks that we go to in the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. Of course, it is a triangle. It's a very big triangle. And like we just said, 3 different turns, 3 different straightaways. It's going to be a fun one. And Carlos, you know, this is very much a driver's track. You really have to adapt to how this track drives, being that every single turn you go to is different.
That's true, Cameron, and it's so nice to be here. That being said, some of these drivers, while it's nice to be here, some of these drivers are experiencing maybe some pressures going on and throughout their bodies and throughout their brains, as we only have 3 races remaining before the playoffs begin. Now, the last race they were racing at was none other than Kentucky. So Will Wursler dominated that night, and he continued to try to catch up on the point standings that Jared Mogart has. However, today we are at Pocono, and then next week, next week we are at Eldora for the Dirt Derby. So not too many races remaining. The remaining races are all a bit different for each driver. So before we do continue, why don't we go ahead and talk about the points? Let's go ahead and see who is in a good position and who is not in a good position to continue. Before we do go into the truck pointings, let's go ahead and talk about the premier point standings. So in first place, we have Jared Mogart with 822 points. Will Wursler in second behind 152. Cory Silva finds himself in third with 156. Evan Black in fourth. Mitchell Brown in fifth. Joseph Sobel in sixth. Jim Foose in seventh. Kelsey Rogers finds himself in eighth. With Jason Stewart in 9th and Sam Maxwell rounding out the top 10 in the premier points. However, going to take a look at the actual points for the Truck Series. Let's go ahead and take a look at that with Jared Mogart, Will Wursler, Mitchell Brown, Evan Black, all locked into the playoffs. Each driver has multiple wins. None of these drivers have 1 win each. They each have multiple, so they're locked in. Cory Silva finds himself 79 points ahead of the cutoff. Tyler Salville, Jason Stewart, Jim Foose, Richard Stallings, Kelsey Rogers, Alan Young, and Tim Knott are all above the cutoff. Tim Knott being 5 points above it. Jared Haggerty is currently in 13th, 5 points behind, with Bray, Haight, Pelican, Giese, and Wells all on the outside looking in. So with only a couple of seconds left before we do go into qualifying, this is going to be a very, very important race, especially for Haggerty, Bray, and Troy Haight. Cam, you've driven here a couple times. I don't know if you've driven in the new Pocono, but how do you think these drivers should approach qualifying, especially with these new truck engines?
Yeah, like you said, Carlos, the new truck engine, it's really it really drives a lot differently than the old truck. It's not something you really think about a lot, but the torque, the power band, it's all different. So, this is a track that very much rewards getting off the corner with as much momentum as you can. So you really need to figure out how to use that to your advantage. And I think it's going to be, you're going to find a lot of success by getting off the throttle early and getting back on it as early as possible here. So that's the successful drivers are going to be able to do that. And to kind of just expand on what you said, the hottest driver in the series right now, Will Wursler, he has 3 wins out of the last 5 races. He's won the last 2 races, and he really I think he's about 70 points behind the leader, Jared Mogart, right now. He really needs to come out here and get as many points as he can. Of course, Jared Mogart missed the last race in Kentucky, so that was a very big break for Will Worsler to get some points back on him. So he's going to need to come out here and get as much points as he can, and really he needs to just do all he can the rest of the season probably before the playoffs and just try to get as many wins as he can, because Jared Mogart early in the season looked unstoppable. Will Worsler had a few struggles here and there, and I think he's really found his groove. So this is, like you said, a really important race for these drivers, and it's really going to be a bit of a turning point, I think, for the season.
That's true, Cam, and we already see a bunch of these drivers going out. This is single car qualifying, 10 minutes across. I believe typically the league only runs about 5 minutes, but because of the bigger track, they would like to run double the qualifying time. So it shouldn't be any of an issue for any of these drivers qualifying out there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the track weather just to see what type of conditions they might be facing. And oh my, while the air temp doesn't seem that hot, track temperature sure is pretty nice and toasty, which is telling me that there might be a couple breezes going on, as we can see with the, well, now it's 4. That looks like the breeze is going down. Yeah, the breeze is definitely going down. It was 6 when we hit the ticker up. But it's very, very sunny, and barely any clouds out there to cool the track, as now there is no wind, and now the wind is going a different direction. Cam, with these type of temperatures, what can they expect?
Very low grip, and it's going to be really hard to get, like we said, to get a fast qualifying time here. You're going to need to get off the throttle early and get it back on early, and it's going to be hard, especially there in turn number 3. You see, I believe that's Jimmy McKee in the 31 coming through right now. That is the lowest bank corner on the track, and it really is the hardest one to get the truck turned through. That's it's probably the most important corner on the track as well, because you have that long straightaway. It's over a mile long. Down into turn number 1, where we see McKee going into now, and you want to get as much speed off that corner as you can. Right here, the tunnel turn number 2 at Pocono is a very famous corner. Actually, no, that was going through turn 3. Excuse me. But turn 2 at Pocono, called the tunnel turn, probably the corner that most drivers dislike the most, and really, as far as setups go, it's the most compromising, because really, it's a shortish straightaway before, and it's an even shorter straightaway after it. So there's not too much penalty if you get it a little bit wrong, except for the fact that if you do get it wrong, that's probably the turn where you can wreck the hardest as well. So, a bit of a trade-off there. But either way, about 5 minutes down in qualifying now. Excuse me, about 3 minutes and 3.5 minutes right now. Mitch Brown right now at the top of the charts with a 54.945. We'll have to see how that compares to practice. I believe that fastest in practice was a 54.667 by Brandon Stokes, so a very good showing by him so far. We'll see if anyone can even come close to duplicating that lap time in qualifying. It looks like the lap times are about 0.3 slower all around right now, which might indicate that the track has gotten hotter from practice, which is definitely not what you want as a driver, but it's just something that everybody has to kind of play with. But on track, Evan Black, he was pretty quick in practice. See if he can do something. But you can just see how long the straightaway is. You are on it for about 20 seconds of your lap, and it just keeps going and going and going, and it's going to be so important in the race, because these trucks punch such a big hole in the air, and there is definitely a big element of draft involved here. So even if you don't get a good qualifying time, if you can stay in the draft, in that lead draft of all the trucks around you, you're probably going to be somewhat okay.
That's true. And talking about important corners, one of the more important corners is turn 3. Especially exiting that corner, you have to get all the momentum in the world that you can, because that is the longest straightaway in all of NASCAR. If you do not get a fast exit out of that corner, not only is your current lap a ruin, but your next lap is also ruined if you're doing hot laps. And if somebody's behind you trying to pass you for the lead or for that very important playoff spot, you cannot afford to have all of that length of the track just having them go by you like that. You have to be able to protect. You have to be able to carry momentum all around you, and essentially you have to run a very nice, smooth race. Consistency will be key tonight. Managing your tires will be key tonight, and more importantly, getting yourself in a position to finish decently will also be key. I haven't personally had a chance to run these new trucks yet. But that new engine that people are talking about and some of them complaining about, it's definitely gonna increase that momentum type of thing, as we are seeing Jared Mulber just smack the entrance to pit road divider there. We're not seeing anybody else on track that's actually going for a hot lap, or at least their first hot lap. Taking a look at the the 1986 of Jackson Van Valkenburg. Let's go ahead. Oh, never mind. I was going to go ahead on board, but he just got a little too much beans actually in the corner and smacked the inside wall. We'll see who else we can go ahead and take a look at. Here's a 94 Cory Sobel fighting himself currently in 6th place in about to enter turn 2 right now. Turn 2, well, as Cam mentioned, a lot of drivers don't like that corner. I don't like that corner. That's the corner I always struggle with the most. Turn 3 is my favorite one. You can run that turn with different areas, different lines, different arches, and you can be successful.
Absolutely, and you know, something that some people kind of bring up, and it definitely is a facet of this track, is that all 3 turns, of course, being all different, but they were all designed after different racetracks back in the day when this track was built, which was, I believe it was built about 1969. Turn 1 was modeled after Trenton Speedway, which unfortunately no longer exists. Turn 2, the tunnel turn, Indianapolis, so, you know, very famous corner right there. And turn 3 was the Milwaukee Mile, so that's why it's flat. It's got about 5 or 6 degrees of banking through it, so it's very flat compared to the other turns, which are about 10 to 15 degrees. So, you know, of course, all these drivers are running fixed setups, the iRacing stocks, I believe. So, you know, if you're setting up a car for this racetrack, it really, you need a lot of compromise in it, because there's just no way that you can get a good setup for each corner on the racetrack, being that turn 1 is a relatively high banked corner. Turn 2 is that 90-degree middle banked corner, and then turn 3 is the flat sweeping corner. So I mean, it's all about compromise, and really it's how you have to drive it too. The way you set up the truck is how you kind of have to drive it as well. You really need to find, it's kind of like the law of the threes. You need to find 2 corners on the racetrack that are going to help you the most, and that's usually turns 1 and 3 for most drivers. Turn 2 really is not going to net you much gain here. But here's Richard Stallings on the track. I believe he has already...
He was backing out, it seems like. Now we're taking a look at the one of Jason Stewart. Jason Stewart is a driver who we can definitely see out there, maybe contending for a win or 2, but always trying to give himself the best position he can. And currently finds himself the second to last driver, the penultimate driver on the field, as he hasn't taken a time yet. And okay, nobody else is on track right now. Literally nobody else is on track. Not quite sure what's going on. It could be possible these drivers have already made their 2 attempts and had either messed up or hit the wall, or something happened that they were unable to actually put a lap time in. However, we're not seeing anybody else on track with about a minute and a half left. Now, with 3 races to go, including this one, every point matters, every position matters. You can't mess up. Let's go ahead and take a look at where our bubble drivers are currently at. 2 of our drivers are Tim Knott, who is currently in the playoff position, and Jared Haggerty, who is currently 5 points out. Taking a look to see where they currently are in the current point standings is, see, Jared Haggerty qualifying in 4th place. So that's an incredible job to get himself in a position to start decently. And then 10 spots behind in 16th is Tim Knott. So very polar opposites. This is exactly what Jared Haggerty wants to start the weekend by, and not how Tim Knott wants to start it out. Cam, you've raced a long time. We both have. You're clearly the better driver compared to the 2 of us. How do you approach a race qualifying in mid-pack or even worse?
Well, you know, every driver is different. Myself, if I don't get a good qualifying run, I usually just say to myself, okay, you know, there's not much I can do about it. I'm back here, and I kind of just got to take what I can get. And I'm usually just going to kind of just take the race, chill, have it come to me. And, you know, like you said a little bit earlier, Carlos, this track, surprisingly enough, even though this is the new version of Pocono on the service, the repaved version, the tires do matter here. Of course, on every oval race with these stock cars, tires do matter. But just with how the track is, really, you need to try to save as much tires as you can for the race. You tend to get longer runs here because this is a newer track, and cautions you know, they do come out a little bit easier, but they still don't come out easy because you just technically don't see a lot of cautions at this type of racetrack. So just trying to have as much tire left at the end of the run, I think is going to net a pretty good gain. But we've already finished qualifying, and you see all these trucks lined up short track style on pit road, which is a pretty cool feature of the newer tracks. I'm a pretty big fan of it. We'll go ahead and go through the grid for you guys real quick. Brian Yazik on the pole. He's on the pole with a 54.784, almost matching his practice time. So definitely that number 55 showing a lot of speed tonight. Let's see if he can come home with a win. He has not actually gotten a win in the truck series yet, so he's definitely going to want to try to get that. To his outside, Evan Black, the 9-2. He's got a couple wins on the series so far, so he's going to try to go for number 3 tonight.
Yep.
And
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
No, you continue. I'll take 10th back.
Okay. Row number 2, we got Will Worsler, last week's winner, as well as week 4. He's starting on the inside of the row, and to his outside, number 6 of Jared Haggerty, Chevy and a Toyota on row number 2. Row number 3, we got Jared Haggerty and, Mitch Brown and Cory Silva, another Toyota and Chevy pairing right there. Cory Silva looking for his first win on the series. We know he's really hunting for that one. Sam Maxwell, the title sponsor of this series, going to roll off in 7th place, and to his outside, Alan Young. Brandon Stokes, the driver who we haven't seen much of this year, but having a lot of speed tonight. He's going to roll off in 9th.
All right, looks like we're having a couple technical difficulties there. I apologize for that, especially for the audio issues there. Rolling off in 10th place, 11th place, we have Jared Mogart with Jimmy McKee on his outside. In row number 7, we have Doug Mullins in the 18 with Alex Geesey in the 77. Row number 8 has Jackson Van Volkenberg with Tim Knott on his outside. Row number 9 has both Jack Wells and Tyler Sobel. Row number 10 has Brandon Krutz and Edward Bray. And go ahead, Cam, take it the rest.
Started in the blackjack position, Steve Bahala in the number 43. He's going to roll off on the inside of that row. And to his outside, Jim Foose, series admin, going to roll off in 22nd, and he's the last of the drivers who have taken time. So we'll go ahead and run off the rest of the field for you. Richard Stallings going to roll off in 23rd. 24th is Jason Stewart. 25th, Chris Titus. That was a little bit messed up. Excuse me. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. Dylan Hickey in 25th. Christopher Lane, 26th. Clarence Bonner, 27th. And Chris Titus, who is not 25th, he is 28th. So my apologies there. I had my line up a little bit, and I should have my audio issues fixed. So I apologize for that. But, pretty long pace lap here. If we do get cautions, these pace laps do take a long time. A lot of drivers hate this race for that reason. Not necessarily because of the track, but if they do get cautions, they take forever. So just coming through turn number 2 right now, coming down to start the race in just a couple of moments' time. But, all these drivers thinking, what is going to be my first move into turn 1? Because as we've seen, this front stretch is so wide. It's about 10 car widths wide, maybe a little bit wider. So you can go 3, 4, even 5 wide. And that's something we're going to see today, I think, if we do get cautions, or maybe on the initial start. It's going to be a pretty crazy mess on the start and the restarts. But we're coming through turn 3 right now. That pace car's make that hard left turn onto pit road, and green flag is out. We'll see how everybody gets going on the start. It looks like a bit of a stack up mid-pack, but the leader, Brian Yazik, gets to a good start. He's been able to actually almost clear the 92 of Evan Black into turn 1 already. It's like we have 3 wide, a few rows back, but everybody seems to have gotten themselves pretty good. Here comes Evan Black on the outside. He's got a good run through turn 1, but I don't think he's going to have the momentum off turn number 2, but we'll see it down the, I guess this is the short, not really the short shoot, but yeah. I guess the long pond straightaway. That would be, yeah, so side by side for the lead here with Black and Brian Yazik, and you don't want to go too wide into the tunnel turn if you don't have to, but they're going to have to, so we'll see who gets the advantage. Some trucks slipping up in the back. I believe that was the 18 of Doug Mullins. He got a little bit sideways, but he was able to keep it straight. We're still side by side here for the lead. Yazik and Evan Black through turn number 3. We've seen that outside line be pretty successful through this turn, but I think Yazik has the advantage. Will Worsler now under fire from, that's the 94 of Cory Silva. He's already up to the 4th position, going for 3rd, and we have side by side behind them too, between Mitch Brown and Jared Haggerty. They're also going for position. So we have about a 180-mile-an-hour pace lap up here for the lead and for a few rows in the back. So all these drivers going for everything they can. Brian Yazik able to hold the lead, but we have a caution out on the racetrack somewhere. Not sure what happened, but we'll have to go back and watch the
Oh,
replay. Looks like, ooh, the 42 of Jim Foose involved, as
the
well
two
as Steve
teammates.
Buhala. Yeah, that's
Oh.
definitely not what you want to see, so we're going to have to go back on the replay and see what happened, but definitely not a good look right now.
It looks like the 99 of Clarence Bonner, I want to say, made some contact with the 43 Buhala, and the 42 honestly had nothing to do with it, just got caught up in the incident. Pretty much one of the worst locations, too. Take another look at it and see just what happened.
Yeah, it looks like there was 3 wide there, and 99 and the 43 just got together. It looks like the 43 of Bahala was just arcing his corner a little bit, and the 99 just either didn't know he was there or wasn't going to move for him, and just they made contact. And unfortunately, like you said, the 2 teammates getting involved on lap number 2, so not going to be a good start to the race at all. That's not what you need, and definitely at a track like this, that's a pretty hard hit there for the 99. I can't imagine he won't have some right front damage there, but you know, at this track, aero is so important because the track is so big, and you do reach terminal velocity pretty quickly here. So I think both those trucks are going to be well off the pace for the remainder of this race, and that's definitely not what you want to see.
Yeah, it's a real shame, especially for those 2 teammates, Jim Foose and Steve Buhala. Currently, Buhala going down pit road. Jim Foose still on track, but he actually hasn't caught up to pit road yet. Actually, pardon me, he has. So he's already gone past, so he's catching up to the rest of the field. A tale of another team so far is currently the team that's currently the 92, the 94, and the 29 of Will Wursler. That is Primetime Racing, also with the 93 of Brandon Krutz. They're currently doing pretty good right now, finding themselves 2, 3, 4, and 15th. Brandon Krutz didn't get the qualifying effort he wanted, but he's going to try to find himself and he's going to try to find himself catching up to the rest of his teammates and seeing if he can also get in the top 5, top 10 probably.
So we're coming through turn 3 right now to begin a pace lap, and it looks like we have some drivers electing to come down pit road, and that's actually pretty surprising to me because we've only done 2 laps. Ooh, actually, look at that, 55 of Brian Yazik. Everybody just said no thank you, and looks like he's going to be one of the lone wolves to come out pit road. He's going to go back to about 20th position after that. I see some trucks in the back.
Yep, Tyler Sobel, Edward Bray, Clarence Bonner, Dylan Hickey, Jason Stewart, Jim Foose, of course. What has me thinking, maybe Yazik thought, since it's only a 40-lap race, if it's possible, he can maybe try to stretch it from here on fuel. Would you think maybe that could be done?
You know, that's definitely a good thought right there, Carlos. I'm not exactly sure what the fuel run for these trucks would be. I'm imagining it would probably be somewhere around 30 to 35 laps. So definitely, you know, maybe if we get some cautions later on the run, he can maybe stretch it. But it's an interesting strategy because, you know, he was out in the lead, and now he's going to be back in 20th, 25th position or so, you know, back in the 20s. So I'm not sure if I would necessarily want to give up my track position at this stage in the race, especially being that there was a wreck that just happened around that position further on in the pack. So, you know,
that was
definitely
a lead position too.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not sure. He knows better than I do. Obviously, he's the one driving the truck, and he probably knows how far you can go on fuel and everything. So you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's wrong or anything. Obviously not. But you know, it's definitely interesting, and we're definitely going to have to keep a tab on him to see what happens with that, because it's something that is you know, I would say it's out of left field a little bit, but you know, it might work. We've seen crazier things work, especially at this track. Pocono is one of the tracks where alternate strategies can really play dividends. So, you know, we'll have to see if he can keep himself out of trouble and everything like that. He's definitely gonna have newer tires than most everybody in front of him. So we'll see if that actually, you know, we know tires are a factor here. So we'll see if the 2 lap difference in tires actually is able to make that big of a difference. But definitely something to watch for.
So a quick update regarding the current lineup of the vehicles. You guys are noticing that in 28th place is Chris Titus. He is in the garage. His car was unable to actually start the race, and sticking it down to the garage to, I'm assuming, get ready to go home and go on for the next week at Eldora, where they'll be bringing in a completely different vehicle, one that they won't necessarily mind getting down and dirty and maybe a little beat up. Do you have your thoughts on Eldora, Cam? I'm not sure I'm not personally much of a dirt driver. I respect those drivers, but that type of driving isn't for me, and it shows.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Carlos. I'm not a dirt driver by any means, but I can kind of hold my own. Not very well, but it's definitely a fun time. You know, it's different than this, especially you really can't get two more different tracks than Pocono and Eldora. So I think all of these drivers are going to be excited for that, even if they're not necessarily well endowed with the dirt skills. So it's going to be a fun one. And right before we go back green, let's go ahead and reset the top 10 for you real quick. Haven't changed too much from the start of the race, but right now, Evan Black is your leader, followed by Cory Silva, Will Wursler, Jared Haggerty, Mitch Brown in 5th, Brandon Stokes, Jared Mogard, Sam Maxwell, Alan Young, and Jackson von Volkenberg already up 5 spots from his 15th place starting position, now running in 10th. So
yeah, and
good for
currently
him.
right now, Jared Haggerty would be in the transfer spot for the playoffs, considering where Tim Knott is currently in 15, hasn't been able to move up much, but granted, it was only a lap and a half.
Yeah, and I see the 43 of Steve Buhala still on pit road with getting some crash damage fixed. It looks like that truck is pretty much well out of the running, has a lot of damage still, and he might be done for the day, but we'll have to wait and see later. Pace car is off field in the hands of 92. Look at that start he gets. He has gapped the entire field by several car lengths already, and now we have the side-by-side battle for second into turn 1. Will Wursler and Cory Silva, they were side drafting a little bit of contact it looked like, but they were able to get off each other into turn 1. You see that big lead for Evan Black right now. The battle is behind him for second place. Cory Silva gets a good run through turn 2. Will Wursler in trouble a little bit. We have 3 wide, almost 4 wide off the corner. There's Sam Maxwell making a power move around the outside. Will Wursler dropping like a rock. Looks like he got all out of shape through turns 1 and 2 and lost all of his momentum. Definitely he is going in the wrong direction, but the one who is not going in the wrong direction is Sam Maxwell. He's already up to about the 4th position or so, maybe 5th. Very good power move for him around the outside. Title sponsor of the series. We've seen him be fast in a lot of races. Hasn't been able to seal the deal yet, but we know that he's probably going to do that today. He's running behind the 6th Jared Haggerty through turn 3 right now off this turn 3 down this long straightaway. You see Evan Black. Look at the line. He's running all the way down to the inside of the track.
That's
to
what
the wall almost, trying to break the draft.
That's what the professionals call draft dodging, isn't it?
Yeah, breaking the draft, and I'm not sure if it works too well here on iRacing because you saw that Cory Silva actually gained time on him, so he might have lost a little bit of time doing that. But either way, it's a pretty spectacular thing nonetheless. But most of the field single file right now through turns 1 and 2, or excuse me, turn 1. I'm having to adjust myself to this racetrack just a little bit.
I hate to cut you off, but does the 6 have some front end damage that I am noticing? I thought I noticed it in the restart. Yeah, that front bumper is definitely crumpled in a little. He restarted 4th. Was Will Wursler on the 2nd place on the outside of that restart?
Yes, I believe he was. So I think there was a little bit of contact there. We saw the 6 of Jared Haggerty a little bit aggressive on the restart.
Oh, yeah, right there. Look at the back bumper of the 29.
Yeah, you see it right there. So that's a telltale sign. Rear damage for the 29 and front for the 6. So definitely some contact there. That might have been why the 29 was shoved out of the way like he was, and definitely probably not going to be too happy about that. But either way, well, we're only back to the 8th position. Hasn't, I would rather take that than having a wrecked racetrack. So definitely doing a good job to salvage what was left of that move. We have a battle between I believe that's Jared Mogard and Mitch Brown. That's from the 5th position, side by side into turn number 2. I think that Mitch Brown's going to hold tough on that outside line. Jared Mogard has no chance, or has no chance but to just back out of that. Now he's going to be under fire from Brandon Stokes in that 9 down the short chute into turn number 3. So I think Mogard might be losing a spot because of that move, and Brandon Stokes looks like he's going for 2. He might be trying to make a move on Mitch Brown as well. That would be a pretty good thing to do. And there's
battle for the lead. Well. Getting pretty
battle for
close
the lead in.
Between two teammates there.
Actually, I think that battle for the lead is well and truly over. Cory Silva did take the lead, and here comes Evan Black into turn number 1, trying to do the crossover on the inside of the racetrack, but Cory Silva using that outside line to his advantage, and really staying the outside line at Pocono Raceway is not something you typically hear a lot of, but it definitely does work very well in turn 1 due to the banking of the racetrack. Here's Brandon Stokes and Jared Mogard still going at it for the 6th position, a little bit further on back.
That's a battle for 5th, honestly. All of those trucks right there.
Yeah, big kind of group of trucks. And here comes Will Worcester trying to look on Brandon Stokes. Not going to have any momentum to do anything, I don't think. And I think we might be seeing a little bit of the facets of that new engine coming into play. It looks like it's a little bit tough to get some runs, but here comes Will Worcester. He's got a pretty good one off turn number 3 right now. See some trucks diving way down on that front stretch. They're just doing that for show at this point, just because it looks pretty cool. But you know, we're already 10 laps down in the race almost, so about a quarter of the way through after we finish the next lap. So this will be a pretty quick one if we can go green, even with how large this racetrack is. But still battling pretty hard here up front. Sam Maxwell and Jared Haggerty going at it.
Caution!
And as I say that, caution out once again.
Alan, oh my goodness!
Oh, a horrible wreck out of turn number 1.
Edward
the 99.
Bray.
Clarence Bonner is out of the racetrack.
That's a huge flip if I've ever seen one. Let's go ahead and take a look on board. Oh, not on board. That's the next camera shot. Oh, that's the 24 got loose, and then the 7 and the 66 made contact. And oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and board the 66 and see just exactly what happened. It's time for the gyrocam to earn its money here tonight. We haven't been using it too much recently, so now, ooh, so it looks like, I thought the 66 made contact with another vehicle, but it seems like the vehicle that slowed down for the 24 just checked up and caused the 66 to get loose. So, yeah, right there, a little bit too much beans exiting turn 1. I've done that before in this racetrack. The 7 got loose, and the 66 got loose trying to get out of his way. So... also, wait, is that the 93 also involved Brendan Krutz? Yes, that is. Let's go on board and see. Yeah, let's see what he saw.
And it looks like Krutz and Alan Young got out of that pretty well. I don't believe they made any contact. Definitely Alan Young didn't. And yeah, it looks like Brandon Krutz just kind of lost it slowing down. And
no harm, no foul. Really hit tires.
And apologies to Clarence Bonner in the 99. I saw the 66 upside down, and that was a 99 while it was flipping, but that was not Clarence Bonner. That was Edward Bray, so apologies there. It's a little bit hard when when you see a truck flying through the air at Pocono with a number that can be read upside down. So definitely not something that no big deal, but it's just one of those things.
A quick update here. The 86 of Jackson Van Valkenburg is in the garage with some power steering issues. He is on the chat saying that his computer had an issue and that he was really excited to race tonight. So he may be able to get back out on track if he can fix his power steering issues and his computer issues. But if not, that might be an end of the night for him.
Another retirement as well. The old one of Christopher Lane has pulled into the garage. Not sure what happened to him. I didn't see him involved in anything explicitly. He might have been in that last wreck, but I couldn't see. But he did have a bit of front end damage, and just looks like he called it a night. But a lot of activity here on pit road. Looks like most of the field electing to come down. And there's Brian Yazek, 55. He was the leader before the last restart, and I think this caution that we just had kind of threw a bit of a wrench into his strategy, Carlos, because he's going to be on equal footing with everybody else now, and you know he lost all of his track position he had earlier on the race, and look, you see all those trucks that are coming out before him. He's still well down the field. I believe he was about in 13th position, so I don't think it's really going to net him any gain, at least in the short run.
Stayed out.
Yeah, very interesting strategy there.
Only driver to stay out, Cory Silva, ended up winning the battle off the pit road. And currently in third place, second place with the freshest tires, is Jared Haggerty. So the driver who definitely needs to perform out here tonight, even though he does still have 2 more races. Eldora is, think of it like Talladega. All it takes is one driver to make a mistake, and at the end of the race, and that's it for you. You may have a better chance in Talladega, but still, you have to assume the worst. So Jared Haggerty, he won't go to sleep easy unless he wins this race, unless he wins the race before the cutoff.
Yeah, absolutely. So a bit of desperation there to do something. So we'll see how the strategy plays out, but definitely a interesting one nonetheless. But I think everybody has cycled through. Cory Silva in that 94 truck. He's going to be starting in second place if Jason Stewart elects to stay out. He looked like he was going to duck down there for just a moment, but at 94 of Cory Silva, kind of the bad luck driver of the year per se. It's not been. It's not that he hasn't had the speed or hasn't gotten the finishes. It's just he hasn't been able to get the win yet, and just having some bad luck to not be able to pull through. So we'll see if he can do that today. Definitely showing some speed out there right now. He was the leader before the caution, so definitely going to try to do that.
I do want to go ahead and take another quick moment to mention that the 66 of Edward Bray coming into this race, he was in 14th, 2 positions out of the cutoff, and only 15 points out. That's going to be completely skewed the wrong way for the 66 once this race is over. Unless pretty much all those top 12 drivers, or those, I assume the 6 through 12 drivers get involved in a huge incident tonight, the Edward Bray more than likely need a win to guarantee himself a spot in the playoffs. Currently 15 points out, or beginning of the race 15 points out. I don't think it's going to go his way. Because that car flipped many times. Still in Pier Road, currently about 5 minutes in Pier Road. I would say his chances of winning tonight are over, and he would only realistically have 2 chances to win before the playoffs are over.
And the good news, Carlos, is the next race is Eldora, and that really, Eldora really tends to kind of be a wild card race because it is dirt, and a lot of drivers, they might be good on dirt, but there are some drivers who excel on it, and drivers that may or may not be that excel on the bigger tracks or asphalt in general. So we'll see if next week kind of be that race where somebody who technically doesn't have a good shot to win every week can come out here and do something.
That's true. And then taking a look at who is behind Edward Bray is Troy Haight, the number 28. He currently finds himself. Let me take a look at the positioning tracker. I'm not seeing Troy Haight. I do have an eye condition. I might be going blind, but I do not believe Troy Haight is in the field tonight, as we have taken 1 to green.
Yeah, Troy Haight did not take the start of the race, so he's not out there. Did not decide to show up for this race, but either way, Jason Stewart did elect to come down pit road and get some tires and fuel on that truck, and probably just stay out to lead a lap, all that good stuff. So that does give the lead back to the 94 of Cory Silva. He's going to be joined on the front row with Jared Haggerty in the 6 truck. He still has a bit of front end damage on that truck, so I can't imagine it's hurting him too much. The front fender's a little bit tweaked, and we do see that sometimes where you can get a little bit of front end damage, and your truck really doesn't do anything different than it did before. It's where you get to a threshold of where it starts driving different, becoming a parachute down the straightaways, and that's really what you need to worry about here, is becoming a parachute. Because if you are a little bit more draggy than normal, you're really gonna have a hard time here with how long that front stretch is.
I don't know. I don't like that front end damage. It hasn't really affected him too much though, so it could just be maybe more of a visual thing than more of a cosmetic thing than an actual mechanical issue compared to how iRacing is treating it. But I just don't like that look of that front end.
Well, Carlos, up here in the 3Wide TV booth, we do know that front ends have feelings too, and something about being nice to the front end. Either way, I'm going to shut up now because we are about to go green, and that pace car is about to make the left-hand turn. I'm not sure what I was saying about that, but either way, green flag is out. Cory Silva gets a pretty good restart. Actually, gets a very good restart. He gaps the field by a couple tenths of a second. Will Worsler making it 4 wide on the front stretch. Here's what we talked about in the pre-race. Front stretch is so wide that you can do that very easily, and he's going to pull back in line. But there's still 3 wide. Sam Maxwell and Jared Mogard, and I believe that's 51 Mitch Brown, all 3 wide, but Mitch Brown has the upper edge right now. He was able to get the better run off turn number 2. We're on board with, I believe that was
Will Worsler,
cut away. Will Worsler cut away from it a little bit quickly, but 2 teammates now at front, Evan Black and Cory Silva. I believe they might have timed that restart. That's what teammates tend to do, and I do that myself, so you want to have your teammate behind you more than anyone else. But we have some shuffling of position in the back. Jared Mogard going for, I believe that's 6th position on Sam Maxwell, making a dive into turn number 3. 5th position position, making a dive into turn 3. He drove it well in there, but I don't think he's going to have to run off. Looks like he might have had to check up mid-corner, and all the trucks are on the outside line, so he's going to be drafted by, probably going to lose the spot to Brandon Stokes now. That's one of the things you have to deal with here. It's almost like a Daytona. You want to be in a line of cars so you can draft, but it looks like very tight there through turns 1 and 2, almost some contact there with Stokes and Mogard, but they were able to keep off each other, and Stokes on the outside line looks like he's going to be able to hold the position for now. Battle between Mitch Brown and Jared Haggerty for third position. Mitch Brown on the inside line, and very close there into turn number 2. There was almost some quarter panel contact. That's not what we want to see. That would have been a wreck, no doubt about it. They're still close off of turn 2. A lot of close racing there, Carlos, between all these trucks. It looks like it's pretty hard to pass out there tonight.
Yeah, and if I'm Jared Haggerty, I'm probably a little bit nervous as to what's going on. Still, almost early on the race, we're almost halfway. If these drivers are battling me this hard, this close, this early in the race, I'd just let them go by. But then again, I'm also not a championship contender, and you are. How would you approach this situation? Not yet halfway, but almost there. These drivers are battling you side by side, almost making contact. How would you approach this?
Well, you know, as close as it looks for us up in the booth, these drivers are very good at what they do, and they know the limits of their trucks, so they can do this without having any sort of issues whatsoever. So, you know, it's probably all in good fun for them. Of course, it is a little bit dangerous, and that one little mistake can result in disaster. But you know, you just kind of have to take it what you will, and it is fun. So, just have to make sure that you stay out of trouble and all that good stuff. So, you know, it's. If you are a championship contender, it is a little bit more dangerous to be in that and see that, just because of the circumstances involved. But I think all these drivers kind of know about that by this point. But one driver on the move, Brian Yazik, he's going by Will Worsler for the 8th position. We saw him back about 20th a few laps ago, making that unscheduled pit stop, that pit stop under caution from the lead. So yeah, definitely unscheduled, but from the lead all the way back to 20th, and he's made his way up to the 8th position through strategy and whatnot. So I think that 55 truck might be one to watch. Of course, he is your pole hitter and showing a lot of speed right now, getting by trucks probably easier than anyone else in the field right now. So right in front of him, battle between Mogard and Maxwell, still going at it for the 5th position. And actually, here comes Brandon Stokes in it as well. He's going to try to go for the 3 wide, but they sort themselves out for the turn number 3. Ooh, Brandon Stokes drove it in there. He was a little bit sideways. That truck was all sorts of out of or off kilter, and somehow made the position on Mogard. That was one heck of a move. But here comes Brian Yazik. He's going to say, I'm going to go to the inside and try to make the move on Mogard now. So really, I think Brian Yazik has the track figured out better than anyone else, because he seems to be able to pass anyone at will. He's able to make those moves and get his truck in position and get the runs at the right time. So I think he might have figured out this new engine better than anyone else, but Mogard not going to give up the position very easily, because he is your points leader, and he has no reason to do so. So it's like we are stringing out single file a little bit for about the first few, actually about...
Oh, wow, Mogard's definitely... Mogard, the points leader, he's got wins, but he is not just riding it easy. You cannot accuse him of doing that. He is constantly going after the 9, trying to get in positions, definitely not making it easier for the other drivers. I do have 2 more confirmations out there. Oh, as we see the 99 going side by side in the back, sideways in the back, no caution. I'm trying to click on him. He has some definite damage. He definitely, I believe, made some calls for other drivers. Go back and take a look. See just what happened there. We're seeing him by himself. It's possible he just got himself loose. Yeah, oh, my bad. Apologies. Just a little bit too much beans right in front of the 24 and hit that at a horrible moment. We have another caution. Yazik in the inside wall. I'm not seeing any damage, Cam. Are you?
I don't think so, but that is a big development right there. And it looks like, I think he just slid up off 2 or
wow.
1 a little bit and did not hit anything. Very close to hitting that safety vehicle access wall, but thank goodness he didn't hit it, because that 55 is very fast.
He was slowing down.
Yeah, might be. He was a little bit sideways already, and I think just he lost all of his side force to being on the inside of that 29 of Worsler, so just kind of lost it. But like you said, Carlos, didn't hit anything, no damage to that 55, and he's gonna get that truck back to the pits, get some tires on it, and he will live to fight another day. You know that truck is fast, so he's got half the race to go to try to do something with it now.
I gotta say, for Yazik, to me, that I would take that as a symbol of I used up all my luck, and I have no more to use. I would definitely approach the rest of this race with caution. But once again, I'm not a championship contender. That's just very, very close. It's great that he didn't get any additional damage. Going back to what I was trying to say, both the 66 and the 86 have gone behind the wall, behind the garage for good. Jackson confirming that he is not returning, and Edward Bray disconnecting a couple laps ago. So only 24 drivers on track at the moment, with Steve Buhala being that 24th driver. Still in pit road. He's been in there for about 25 minutes now. We'll see if he's going to come out, gain himself a couple spots. I would say if he comes out within the next 12 or so laps, he should be able to catch up all these drivers and finish in 24th. But we'll see what's going on as these drivers are going down pit road.
Yeah, about halfway in the race right now, actually, exactly halfway. So I think all these drivers gonna probably think that this might be definitely if we do go green, there's no more worry about fuel, and get the tires on and just run the rest of the race as is. But the way it's been going, it looks like the trucks are a little bit of a handful tonight. You see some drivers getting sideways. Ooh, 94 of Cory Silva missed his pit box pretty badly. A lot of drivers missing their pit box, having to back up. So I think that's going to be the end of the lead for Cory Silva. He's probably going to get beat off by his teammate Evan Black and probably lose a couple more positions. And we'll see. Definitely losing to the 98, the 9, the 31, the 35. Cory Silva has lost a multitude of positions. He's back to about 10th position now after missing his pit box. So huge mistake right there. Not what you want to have at this stage in the race with probably about 17 laps to go when we go green again.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and see if we can have a quick interview with the 94, Cory Silva, and get his take on what happened there on that pit entry. Cam, go ahead.
Yeah, Cory Silva, this is Cam Rich up in the booth. You got a copy?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I got you guys wrong button.
No problem whatsoever, dude. Well, looks like you have a lot of speed in that truck tonight, and just a bit of a miscue on pit road right there. It looks like you missed your pit stall by just a little bit. Got yourself back in the pack a little bit. So what's going to be, first off, do you think you can get back up to the front? And second off, how are you going to do it?
I mean, it's about taking advantage of the first 3 laps while everyone's bunched up. I think I can get back to the top 5 pretty easily. I don't have the best truck. Evan, and if anything, Will's a little better than me, but it's just about track position. So if Evan's up front the whole time, I don't think I can get back to him, but definitely think I can get a top 3 out of it.
Absolutely, and I know you've been up front most of this race. You did start, and I believe, 4th or something like that. You started in 6th, actually, so you have had to make a few passes. It looks like it's a little bit tough to pass out there, and I think you just said it yourself. It's about taking advantage of those first 3 laps. Is that the case, or is it just a case of really, what is it?
I mean, the way we've been talking about it in team chat is it literally feels like these trucks are down a cylinder with this new gearing package. Like, there's no gear, there's no torque, so if you miss a corner, you lose so much momentum. There's a tiny bit of aero push in there too. So it's really hard to gain any time, but it's really easy to lose it. So it's just a matter of managing all that.
All right, Corey. Well, thank you very much for talking with us, and we're going to let you get back to what you're doing and get back to team chat and get ready for this restart. So thank you once again.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, that was the 94 Cory Silva. Let's see if we can talk to his teammate and the current race leader. That would be the 92 of Evan Black. Evan, gonna be a quick interview here, so we can go ahead and let you concentrate back on the lead. You currently have the lead. Do you feel like you have what it takes to win this race?
Yeah, I feel like I've got a really good long run truck. I've been trying to kind of save my tires there on those starts, and it's like the second caution in a row. I've been side by side with my teammate Corey for the lead, and then caution comes out and he's a nose ahead. But he made a mistake on that pit stop there, and he's back in ninth or so. So we'll see if he can get back up here. But I kind of feel like he's my biggest competition right now. I haven't really seen what Mogard has, and he hasn't really been up at the top 3 or up here with us this entire race. So we'll see. He might have something, but I feel pretty good about it.
All right, how's the truck handling for you overall?
I actually really like how it's handling. I know a lot of guys are complaining about it being a bit loose out of the corner, and it is, but it's kind of suiting my driving style, and I've been able to get really good runs, especially on Corey out of corners, just because he's getting too loose, and I'm able to manage the throttle and the steering a little bit better.
All right, well, thank you so much, Evan. Wish you good luck on this restart.
All right, thanks.
All right, those are the prime time driving prime. Cam, I'm having like a stroke here. Those are the prime time racing boys. We got the B team here tonight. Unfortunately, our main commentators are unavailable with a couple of issues tonight, and the backup crew is also available. So actually, we're not the B team. We're the B and C team. I'm the C team. I'm the guy who they get when nobody's around.
Yeah, I live in a box outside the 3Bod TV headquarters, and I'm just kind of called in when nobody else is available. But either way, we're going to make the most of it tonight. We're having fun up here in the booth, and pretty good race up from here where we're sitting. And Carlos, I think Cory Silva, it's a good thing we were able to talk to him, because he kind of just confirmed what we were talking about, the new engine kind of throwing a wrench into this race. He said that they just feel like they're down on power, down on a cylinder, and it's very hard to pass. So it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers adapt to the rest of the race.
That's true. Momentum is going to be key, but now that this race has been cut in half, well, a little bit less than half, some of these driver strategies have to change. To me, I thought this race would have been maybe 1 or 2 cautions, and it would have been a very, very long run towards the end. But the way we're looking, it's going to be, if we do go caution-free, about 16 laps of green flag racing. What were you expecting for this race? We'll actually answer that later on as pace car's about to go off, Cam.
Absolutely, a pace car about to make that left turn onto pit road. See, we have about 16 laps to go, and Evan Black, we just talked to him. He's got a pretty good restart. We've seen the leader get out to a pretty big lead on each and every subsequent restart after the initial one. We have a battle for second, Jared Haggerty and Jared Mogard, the two Jareds. One has 2 R's, one has 1, and they're going to be side by side into turn number 1. And looks like that's Sam Maxwell behind them. He's having a very good run himself. He's been right up there in the top 5 all race, right at the back end of that top 5. See if he can have the speed to make a move up here to get himself in the top 3. But he has 2 Jareds in front of him, Mogard and Haggerty. Mogard on the bottom, Haggerty on the top side. We'll see what they can do in the turn number 2 on board with Maxwell. And one of those drivers going to have to probably give, because look at Mogard slid up a little bit, but it was able to keep off of Haggerty. And it's like Haggerty was able to get the run off because Mogard had to get out of the gas. He was sliding up, and there's Cory Silva side by side with Kelsey Rogers through turn 3. He's going to try to get himself back up into contention. We know he's fast. He made a mistake on the last pit stop. Ooh, somebody in the wall. Maxwell, hard.
Yeah.
A lot of damage on the car. Somebody else hit him in the back, so somebody's going to have a lot of front end damage. I don't know who exactly that was, but we're going to have to go through the field and see who has it. We'll see on the replay here what happened. But definitely that 98, as I was talking about him having a good run, he hit that wall pretty hard, so he's going to be quite off the pace. Like that might have been the 9 of Brandon Stokes, I believe.
Yeah, but that happened after 98 hit the wall.
Yeah, so both of those trucks
still
will be hurt a little bit. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of damage on the right side of that truck, and you see the rear end all sorts of out of whack.
No!
Contact! And around goes the 98. The bleeding continues, and it's gotten exponentially worse because there's damage on all 4 corners of that truck now. We see some other trucks potentially involved. I don't actually think anyone else was involved in that accident. I saw trucks all over the place.
Oh, this is not
Tim
good
Knott,
for
the 41.
Tim.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happened on the replay, Carlos. I'm not sure what happened, but 98 went around and all hell broke loose. Oh, the 11 of Tyler Seville, it looks like he might have had some contact as well with the 41 of Knott. So
yeah, 3 white. I did not like the way they were going to that corner, and it proved me right. Unfortunately, Sam Maxwell goes head over heels into the outside wall, backing it up as well. And we're going to go on board with Tim Knott, one of our playoff bubble drivers, and just see what exactly he was seeing as soon as I can find out where Tim Knott is on the standings.
Yeah, quite a bit of damage for Knott and Seville after that contact, so both of those trucks are going to have to come down and get some damage repaired.
Yes, so heavy damage to another championship contender. Now this is starting to look a lot like Christmas for Jared Haggerty, currently finding himself in second place as running a clean, maybe not necessarily the cleanest of races. He does have front end damage, but very fun race for him. I would say at this point maybe the pressure's a little bit off. The pressure's still there because he has to be able to finish it properly, and depending on whether or not he goes down pit road this time by, we'll see if we can get an interview with the six and get his thoughts as to how the night is currently going for him and his competitors.
Yeah, what a shame for Sam Maxwell too. He was having such a good run up there in the top 5 all day, and we just saw how quickly things can go awry. He got in the wall, and it just really snowballed from there, ending up in him getting spun around in turn 2 and making it all so much worse. There's Brandon Stokes electing to come down pit road. Looks like most drivers electing to stay out, except for the ones that have damage. There's Seville and Knott. Of course, they were involved as well. I think that Nine's going to have a lot of front-end damage. He got in the back of Sam Maxwell after the first wall contact, so definitely not the way he wanted things to go. But, you know, we are actually coming down to the end of this race pretty quickly. It's gone by fairly, you know, rapid, so there's not much time for all these drivers up here. You know, if you're in the top 10, probably I'd say you have to be in the top 10 about now to have a shot to win this race, and if you really aren't, you're not going. Your chances to win are a little bit less than they would be normally because there's just not much time left, and it's so hard to pass.
All right, well, speaking of chances about winning, we'll see if we can catch up to currently second place driver and one of the happier drivers going on with the way this race is currently going. Jared Haggerty, Cam's caught up with him.
Yeah, I got him right here. Jared Haggerty, you got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, buddy. I got you. What's up?
All right. Well, probably not as good as you are. You run up there in second position, doing a pretty good job right there. First off, I want to ask you, there's been a front-end damage on your truck. I believe you had some contact there very early in the race. Is that affecting you at all, or are you just kind of not even noticing it?
I'm barely noticing it. I kind of went wide going into 2, so fortunately I didn't smack it coming out of 2. And honestly, it's just a little bit of cosmetic damage. Nothing.
Absolutely, and that very pretty purple truck of yours. Purple's my favorite color, so a bit biased up here, but that truck looking very fast and very racy. And we know you're in a points battle right now to get in the playoffs and all that stuff. And it looks like one of your competitors was just knocked out of the race or knocked out of the running. Yeah, teammate as well. So I want to ask you, not able to get a win on the year just yet, but what are your chances to get your first win in the Truck Series this year looking like right now?
Well, I technically had a win earlier in the year, but was taken away with me by a technicality. So we can win. We know how to get up front. These odd tracks, like Darlington, Pocono, Loudon, they all are great to me. But honestly, today, after the week I've had, just trying to have fun. If we get a win, we get a win. That would be great. Great for a points battle. But this week, especially, it's just about having fun racing.
All right, very cool. But one more question for you. We've seen you make a few moves of yourself through the pack, and track temperature is quite high. It's actually gotten a little bit higher throughout the race, 118 degrees right now, and we've seen a lot of trucks get sideways, slipping and sliding. How's the track feeling for you?
It's feeling pretty stable for me. I honestly hadn't really noticed the truck sliding that much. I mean, she'll get a little loose out of one, but that's about the extent of it. All you gotta do is just chase up the track. She'll be fine. But should get ready to go for a good run here. Hopefully we can finish it under green. There's been a lot of cautions, and it's kind of boring on these pace laps, but hell, hopefully we can get some green flag runs and give you all a good show for the finish of this race.
Absolutely, and it's definitely been a pretty good one when you guys are racing, so we are excited up here in the booth. But thank you very much, Jared, for talking with us, and we're going to let you get back to what you're doing, so good luck the rest of the race, and hope to talk to you again afterwards.
All right, 10-4. Thank you, guys.
All right, and that was Jared Haggerty from Dirty Bird Sim Racing. I did not butcher that team's name like I did with the other one. About currently 11 laps to go. Restart with about 10 laps to go. Cam, you are a championship contender, like I mentioned. I am not. I have been lucky enough to participate in a couple playoff battles, but always get eliminated in early rounds. So I do know the struggles of being in the playoff bubble watch. I don't know if you can relate to that or not, considering you are one of the racing masters that I do know. But in this situation, with Jared Haggerty, I will not rest until I get that win. And it doesn't matter how good I'm running. It doesn't matter if I'm currently leading the race or if I'm in second, third, fifth, or last car in the lead lap. I'm gonna feel that pressure no matter what. And until I get that win, it's not gonna go away. And so Jared Haggerty, he knows he has to get that win, and just to make sure that pressure goes away. And he's gonna do the best he can to get that win done. Cam, I don't know how you would relate in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, regardless of the situation, if you're up there in Jared Haggerty's position, and especially with him getting a win taken away from him earlier in the year, you would have to assume that the pressure is that much higher. He really wants to go out there and just get that win and kind of keep it for himself, and especially with the point situation. Yeah, like you said, he's probably wanting that win more than anyone else right now, just because of all those circumstances. So I think he's that number 6 truck. We've seen him be aggressive week in and week out, and we see him be aggressive in this race. I think he's going to try all he can to get that lead from Evan Black on this restart.
Quick updates before we do go back to the green. Sam Maxwell, Clarence Bonner, and Christopher Lane have each taken their trucks behind the wall to the garage. More than likely, their days are done. Race.
All right, coming through turn number 3 right now. Field in the hands of Evan Black, and to his outside, Jared Haggerty. Pace car making that hard left turn, and Evan Black on the gas. Jared Bogard on the gas. Jared Haggerty on the gas as well. Jared Haggerty, not that great a restart. He's actually going to lose second from Jared Mogard. So the two Jareds battling once again side by side. Have some 3 wide back to pack. Everybody looks like they've been able to sort themselves out and get into position, but it's like some juking of positions from Jimmy McKee. He's gotten himself up to the 4th position, up from 12th, so good run for him. Jared Mogard, a little bit slip off turn number 1. He might be under fire from McKee, going for 3rd position, so not what he wanted to have right now, but Jimmy McKee having a very good run. He is one of your highest movers, or your biggest movers right now, and very close there through the tunnel turn. It's a very anxious thing to see from up here in the booth how close they get, but I know these guys are doing just fine. And here comes Cory Silva. We saw him. He was in the lead earlier on this race. We know he's fast. He's going for the 3rd position on Jimmy McKee. So through turn 3, put a power move for him. Here comes Jared Haggerty, way low on the racetrack. Going to make the move on Jimmy McKee off of turn number 3. He's got a good run, but doesn't have the drafting help. We'll see if he can do something, keep the position in turn number 1. But good racing here up at the front, and we might have a battle for the lead heat as well. Jared Mogard and Evan Black are both very close, nose to tail with each other, and it's like, off of turn number 1, Evan Black almost got in the wall a little bit. It was very close, almost hit it. So here comes Jared Mogard. He's going to pull low on Evan Black into turn number 2, try to make the move into the tunnel turn. That's going to be a very close. Wow. Some contact almost there. And Jared Mogard takes the lead relatively easy, but that was very close. I can't imagine that Evan Black is going to be too thrilled about that one, but either way, Jared Mogard did nothing wrong. That was a great move for the lead. He's got himself up to the point from the 11th position starting spot, and we know he's fast. He's got a few wins on the year. He is your points leader, and well, like you said, Carlos, not going to come out here and try to ride. He's going to try to get as many wins, points as he can, and he's doing what he needs to do right now.
This would be his 4th win should he hold off and get the win. Noticing the 18 of Doug Mullins dropping back a couple of positions. As these drivers, some contact made with the 18. 18 is sideways. What a fantastic save by the 18 to 24, and a conga line of other trucks go around on the outside. I believe another driver hit the outside wall to avoid them, but that was not a good position for the 18 to be in, and more likely he is not going to be happy with that 7. And it could be possible the 7 may not be happy with the 18 if the 7 believes that the 18 came down on him.
Yeah, but what a piece of driving that was from from the 18
Yeah.
of Doug Mullins. That truck was on the apron of turn 1, sideways all over the place, and that's not an easy thing to do, save a truck when you're down there. So a good piece of driving from him to not only keep it straight, but not lose a ton of positions in the matter. So we see most trucks single file right now. First side-by-side battle, you see that blue and yellow truck. That's Richard Stallings back in. I believe that's around the 13th position.
Battle
going
for 12,
side by side with
actually.
Alex Giese, and there's Jason Stewart. We saw him lead a couple laps earlier on the race with some strategy, but he's been able to get himself back up into the fight just a little bit. But up at the front, Evan Black and Jared Mogard are still have not let each other get away. And look at third place, Cory Silva. He's gotten himself back up to where he needs to be and going to try to get back to where he was a few cautions ago, and that was in the lead. We saw him have some issues on pit road and lost a lot of positions. He was back to about 11th, 12th position. He's got himself up to the point. We'll see. That's his teammate right in front of him, 92, Evan Black. So he might cut him a little bit of a break here to try to go get that.
The 9 behind. Caution.
Yeah, out of turn number 3, that's Brandon Stokes around, and looks like he didn't hit anything, but we do have another caution on the racetrack.
Too much beans, I think.
Right behind the 35 of Kelsey Rogers. Looks like he just got on that rumble strip a little bit and lost it. Rear end went around, and lazy little spin there. No damage, but we do have a caution.
Let's go on board. Did he make contact with the 35, or was it all the rumble strip? Let's see what happened. They got very, very close to the 35. Well, I will say this. It didn't help. I don't think they made contact, but the 35 being there definitely didn't help the 9.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Carlos, I don't know if you've kind of noticed this phenomenon, but when you're that close behind another truck and you kind of get a little bit too low, it really somehow makes the truck really unstable and lead to exactly what we saw with Brandon Stokes getting turned around the way he did.
Yep, I've been there before. Made a couple mistakes like that. The major incident here would be that the fact that the caution came out. So that's going to go as a strike for the night. A lot of drivers going to end up with strikes here tonight. I believe there may be a suspension or 2 going on. Let's take a look at who currently has a strike going on into this race. Both Jared Haggerty, Brendan Krutz, Jack Wells, Richard Stallings, Mitchell Brown, Sam Maxwell. As did the 95 go down pit road? Yeah, we got a split field here going down pit road. Jared Mogart, Evan Black, Jimmy McKee, and Jared Haggerty all staying out. Mitch Brown and Alan Young all staying out. Cory Silva, Brendan Krutz, pretty much a whole motley crew of drivers deciding to stay out and come in. This kind of changes a lot. There's just not going to be too many laps left in a restart, but then again, it is Pocono, and these drive-offs are going to be very important. Do you think Cory Silva might be able to pass, I want to say, 10 drivers? 9 drivers, and get a win?
You know, that's a very good question, Carlos, and I was actually thinking about that right now. With how hard it is to pass on equal terms, he said himself that these trucks feel like they're down on power a little bit. So he might be thinking that, you know, he would have a better chance with fresher tires by, you know, 10 or so laps, maybe a little bit more than all these other drivers to try to make something happen. And you know, definitely have to see if it works, because it's you know, I think it does have a bit of a shot of working.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I mean, it's not like they don't have any space to do this. This track is wide. And I think the best shots will be for him to get a bunch of momentum exiting 1 and exiting turn number 3. I'm sure he can compromise on turn 2 because there barely isn't that much space to go on that runoff. But he definitely needs to capitalize on all the space and the length of the straightaways of turns on the exit of turns 1 and the exit of turn 3.
Absolutely, and those are the most important corners on the racetrack, nonetheless, and probably the easiest ones to make passes on as well.
I gotta say, I think he made the right call. I think this is this was the race-winning call for the 94. Unless he gets held up badly, I think this is going to be it for him. I don't know about you, Cam, but 94 can execute it correctly. He has this in the bag.
Yeah, it's going to be something to watch out for, absolutely. And I think, Carlos, we're coming down to 2 laps to go on the restart, and we might actually get extended to green white checker. I'm not actually sure about that, but with the way these restarts have been, 3-4 wide and whatever, now that the stakes are even higher, that is a bit of a dangerous position to be in for Cory Silva and everyone else, and there might be some trouble on the restart going into turn 1. So we'll have to wait and see if that actually comes to fruition. But I think if everything goes to plan, he might be sitting pretty here, like you said, Carlos.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and talk to a driver we haven't talked to this week. That'll be the 24 of Adam Young. Cameron has caught up with him.
Yeah, I got Alan Young up here. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, I do.
All right, man. Well, you are currently in 6th position, looking at the timing sheets, and we saw you spun around, almost hitting that inside safety vehicle thing road a couple of cautions ago, and looked kind of, you were spun out and not where you needed to be, but now you're pretty up near the field and doing pretty well. Kind of just tell us how you've been able to get yourself back into position to potentially get maybe a top 5 or a win out of this thing.
Just a bad mistake on my part there, and just the never give up attitude as a team and as a driver. I just trying to get the best finish.
Absolutely, never give up. That's I remember that from back in the day, from the number sake of your car. That Jeff Gordon said that after some stuff happened in the playoffs. But really, just want to ask you, how's the track feeling for you, real quick?
Feels pretty good. It all depends on how you really get in the corner and roll through the center and the momentum on exit. And I mean, if you can get a good run, it carries you. If you kind of push, it kind of ruins your run. But the track feels.
All right, man. Well, you look pretty good out there right now, sitting in the 6th position, row number 3, and with these restarts, that is pretty much 3rd. It could be 3rd after about 5 seconds. So. Good luck the rest of the race, and hope to talk to you again afterwards.
Thanks.
All right, it seems like some of these drivers need to adjust their push to talk delay. We got a couple of drivers that cut off their last words because of that. Cameron, you've got some experience yourself. Now, this final restart is very important for those of the drivers, for those people who are watching that do not know. The league made a mid-season adjustment. As soon as the green flag comes out, you can make passes, you can change lanes before you cross start-finish line. So that could be very important. Something I have noticed is that the 92 of Evan Black always goes on, like, as soon as the pace goes away. We'll see what the 0-0 will do as Cameron take away this final restart.
Yeah, so this restart is for all the beans. Pace car is off field in the hands of Jared Bogard, and that 0-0 gets a good restart. Gaps the whole field by about a car length. Evan Black on the outside line. Jimmy McKee and Jared Haggerty going at it side by side. Alan Young up to 5th. Ooh, might have been some netcode contact with McKee and Haggerty, but no contact. Looks like back in the pack. We'll keep an eye on the 94 of Cory Silva. He's on fresh tires, probably one of the quickest cars in this race. We'll see if he can get back up into position, but we only have 2 laps to go. Carlos, that's not enough time to do anything, I don't believe, but battle for the lead. Evan Black and Jared Mogar going at it. Jared Haggerty behind them as well. We have 3 wide back to pack a little bit, but they've sorted themselves out. Jimmy McKee up to 4th position, right in front of that number 24 of Alan Young.
Both of these drivers on wide.
Ooh, Evan Black got tight out of turn number 2, and here comes Jared Haggerty. So he's looking for the lead as well. He's got to get around the other Jared. That's Jared Mogar, the 0-0 car. He's side by side with Evan Black as well. So out of turn number 3, he's going to have to get a good run. He's got Evan Black to his outside, but he's got some drafting help from Jimmy McKee down that long front stretch and got some 3 and 4 wide back in the pack. There's Cory Silva way down there. That's Kelsey Rogers who blocked them, but you see all those moves being made. Final lap of this race, 2.5 miles to go around this triangular-shaped racetrack. Jared Haggerty and Evan Black still going at it. Jared Mogard looking pretty good right now. He's got side-by-side in his mirror. That's exactly what
they're wrecking back there.
Ooh, big wreck on. Looks Cory Silva involved, and looks like everybody involved. I see 42 involved. Alan Young is around on his roof. One of Jason Stewart. 42 Jim Foose involved. No caution because this is the final lap of the race. Still side-by-side for second. Jared Mogard looking pretty good for the win. He's got several car lengths on anyone else right now. Jimmy McKee behind Jared Haggerty. He's got some drafting help. Jared Haggerty now has cleared them. The battles for third. Jimmy McKee and Evan Black going at it side by side. Evan Black has cleared Jimmy McKee. I think off turn number 3, the positions are set across the line. Jared Mogard captures the win here at Pocono, and he's going to be followed to the line by Jared Haggerty, Evan Black, Jimmy McKee, and Brandon Stokes. Brandon Stokes, who we saw spun around a few, I believe, last caution, has rebounded to 5th position, so good run for him and great race all around. Jared Mogard getting his, I believe, 4th or 5th win of the year. And, well, so much for coming out here and trying to ride the points out, because he's saying, no, I'm going to get as many wins as I can and get as many points as I can because, well, I'm a race car driver, and that's what we do. Tough break there for Cory Silva, for everyone involved in that wreck. That was a huge accident. They're still wrecked on out in turn 1. I believe Jared Mogard is now pushing Jack Wells, who was involved. He's finished 21st. So good to see that.
His teammate proud.
So we'll see if we can get a replay of that huge accident, because that involved about half the field, and was pretty crazy to watch nonetheless. But Jared Mogard pushing his teammate, who is out of power. Well, it's not going to push him very much longer, I don't believe. He's going to push him right there. But Carlos, wow, what a race.
Yep, and we'll show the replay as soon as we're done seeing what the 0-0 of Jared Mogard can do in burnouts wise. As he's going to go ahead and light him up.
Yeah, gets it sideways and almost did a little bit of a Greg Biffle there, but keeps it out of the wall. Getting some. Looks like he's not able to get it turned around actually. So just there you go, right on the Go Bowling sign. So he's gonna go bowling, something like that. Doing his burnouts and did a great job. Started 11th, finished in first, so he was able to get by all those cars and play the strategy just right. He's almost another win on the season, and looking pretty good for points wise.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we'll be right back as we go ahead and try to get that replay of that final lap incident set up, and then we're gonna head on out to do a couple interviews. So we'll be right back, everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pocono Raceway. We just concluded tonight's event, 40 laps here at this tricky triangle, and it sure was tricky for a lot of drivers tonight. And one driver who was not tricky for, maybe the trickiest, the least of everybody, was Jared Mogard. He was able to capture the win. And but before we talk to him, we're gonna talk with our second and third place finishers of the night.
Well,
and
before we do that, we got a replay to watch. That last lap. Let's go ahead and take a look and see just what happened to that 94. Damn, I don't know if we're going to do a play-by-play of this.
Yeah, there was so much that went on here. I think we just have to kind of take it in. But you see, Alan Young got bumped from behind, and it was like everybody just stacked up and contact and cars everywhere. Kelsey Rogers hard on the wall. Cory Silva. I saw Alan Young flipping wildly. He's right there, flying all over the place. So just looks like everyone involved. Alex Giese, I saw him as well. So, wow, that was a massive accident for Pocono, and it's just this track is not very wide in off of turn 1. As wide as it is on the front stretch, it's not very wide off of turn 1, and you see trucks just get in the wall, and our gyro cam getting paid overtime right here, going wild and just absolutely crazy. It looks like most of the field past about 10th position was involved in that accident, so that was pretty wild. There's the 93, I believe, that's Brandon Krutz involved as well, so what a wild accident. Jim Foose, his night went from bad to worse, involved in an accident on lap 2 and got involved in this one, got pitched into the wall and just nowhere to go.
All right, so that was the replay of that last lap incident. Cam, I believe you have caught up with the 92 of Evan Black. Let me just go ahead and see. Just one moment. I believe he's currently in the porta potty. I hear some flushing, so yes, he is coming out of the porta potty. Cameron Rich is caught up with Evan Black.
Absolutely, I have. So Evan Black, once again, you got a copy up here in the booth?
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, well, Carlos saying that you just got out of the porta potty. I hope that was a good one, but either way, you were able to come home third tonight, which is a pretty good run, but I know that you're probably rethinking that last restart. You were on the outside of the front row, and it looks like that was not the place to start or restart tonight. Is there anything that you could have done differently to maybe have a chance to battle with that 0-0?
Yeah, I really probably should have just either backed off and stayed in the line, or maybe drove it in not quite as steep into turn 2, because just once you get up to the outside lane through that corner, it just does not work. There's no grip up there, and once I got up there, I couldn't get back to the throttle, and that allowed Haggerty to get underneath me, and once Haggerty got underneath me, that just kind of killed my chance at having a run at him, but, you know, that's just how it plays out sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like, you know, we talked to a couple drivers here and there, and some of them said it was the track was a little bit low on grip, and a lot of them said it was hard to pass, mainly due to the new engine package these trucks have after the update. Did you kind of feel that throughout the race tonight? It was a little hard to pass or get runs?
Yeah, it was definitely hard to pass, because like you wanted to be on the outside for turn 1, the inside for turn 2, and then the outside for turn 3. So you never really can be in a position where you're going to be in the right spot for 2 corners. So it just really kind of made it hard to pass. And, you know, I almost got around Corey a couple times on those restarts, but just it came down to a caution would come out right as I would get next to him. And that would kind of kill the run that I had because caution's out.
All right, man. Well, you know, pretty good run though nonetheless, and we do have a bit of a different race next week, just a slightly different racetrack. Go to the dirt track of Eldora. How are you looking forward to that one?
I'm really looking forward to that track. I actually didn't realize it was next week, and my teammate Corey was talking about it, and I got kind of excited for it. So definitely gonna, I think, have a chance to go get a top 3, and hopefully gonna go out there and try and get the win.
All right, Evan. Well, appreciate you talking with us tonight. Before we let you go, real quick, you got any shout-outs for us?
Yeah, and you think my sponsors, Primetime Racing, PTR TV, Rapid Fire Graphics, Air Movement Fabrication, and thanks to you guys for doing it.
All right, thank you very much, Evan. Hope to talk to you again next week, but that was your 3rd place finisher of tonight, Evan Black, and we'll see if Carlos can catch up with our 2nd place finisher. I think he's, I don't think he's in the porta potty. I believe he has.
No, Jared Haggerty was just debriefing with his crew chief. Jared Haggerty, you got a moment to chat here?
Yeah, guys, I got a bit.
All right, finishing second place in a race where I know you definitely wanted to win to get all that pressure out and lock yourself into the playoffs, but second place isn't too bad, especially when all the other playoff bubble drivers got involved in incidents. You're pretty much seeming to be in a good position heading into Eldora and then going into Michigan. But before we talk about those racetracks, do you want to give us a rundown as to how your night went overall?
Yeah, the race went actually really good. The car was stable for most of the night. I just couldn't hit those restarts, and that's what cost me in the long run. I could have easily beat Jared there, but again, those restarts screwed me every time, and that's just part of it. You got to be good on every aspect. But happy with the second place finish, and now we just got to make sure that we get enough points to stay ahead of the bubble and get through these next two races. Eldora was not too kind to us last year, but that's because we had the incident limit. But Michigan will be a really good track for us. We came in second in California this year, so hopefully Michigan will be the same there. But again, good second place finish for us here at Dirty Bird Sim Racing.
Yeah, well, that actually answered the next question I had, and the one after that. So I'm gonna have to come up with a couple others on the spot. Jared, I know you were battling your teammate Tim Knott there for that last spot in the playoffs, and Tim unfortunately got caught up in a couple incidents, resulting in a not so good finish for him tonight. He officially, actually, never mind. I scratched that. I have opened my eyes. Tim Knott finished 10th. I don't know where he wound up with that. I thought his race was over due to a couple incidents, but he finished 10th. However, you still finished second, and that is enough points for you to actually swap positions. So the battle is actually closer than I thought between you and Tim. I do not know how you or Tim drive in Eldora, but it seems like it might be a very interesting race. How are you going to approach next week's race at the famous dirt track?
Yeah, Tim's gonna have the ringer right there. He's better at dirt than me by far. But again, last year, the trucks, again, we were really, really good. As far as him finishing for the points, I mean, we were talking on the radio there, and he had come to a dead stop on that last wreck, and he still somehow finished in the top 10. That's really good on him. But actually, I'll let you know with the points, we got Cory Silva, who won't be finishing the rest of the season, as he just announced on Facebook. And you also have the 98 of Sam Maxwell, who does not compete for the championship. He does compete for the points, but he does not compete for the championship in the races. So, and this is from my understanding, so that's two playoff positions right there that are eliminated. So that should at least give us a good buffer.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not seeing Sam Maxwell being shown on the list, so at the moment, it seems like we're moving Cory Silva. Both of you guys are in, especially with Edward Bray also having an even worse finish, being involved in one of the early incidents. So looks like all this excitement we're building up for this race has been a lie, because I completely forgot to talk about Cory Silva has decided to not compete and forfeit his spot in the standings. So anyway,
yeah,
second place. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sam actually looked real quick for you. Sam's actually in 9th right now, so that actually puts him, out right there.
Yep. Yes, you are right. Anyway, before we do let you go, so you can go ahead and decompress, unwind, and think about the second place finish and relax. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, again, got to give a shout out to Dirty Bird Sim Racing. Again, we've been sticking with it through this year, and I mean, it's just been a really good year for everybody. Got a few wins for the team with Mitch there. I want to thank Splash and Go Graphics, Coffman. I mean, he's was kind enough to go on after SMS was no longer on the truck. So Splash and Go Graphics has been able to come on for this year. Cheerwine, Marriott, and Sheraton also. But again, I got to thank y'all in the booth as well, and thank Jim Foose for the league. hopefully we'll get a win here at Eldora, Michigan, so we can definitely get ourselves locked into the playoffs.
There you have right there. Fantastic words from second place finisher Jared Mogart. Cam is in victory lane, just about to talk to Jared Mogart, who is climbing out of his race truck.
Yeah, I got him right here, Jared Mogart. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, man. Well, fourth win of the season, and you started back in 11th. We heard from a lot of guys it was hard to pass. Didn't look too hard for you. You got yourself up to the lead, and you kind of just had it all fall your way. Kind of just take us through your night. How did the track feel for you? Was it hard to pass? And just kind of, all the way up there to do some of the carnage.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very big fan of this place, so I was surprised that I qualified 11th to start, and then I don't know how the hell I ended up front, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, I guess. I think I figured it out there toward the end a little bit. We were able to get a run on Evan and get the lead there. Kind of threw it in there a little bit, but I figured, it was really our only chance to throw it in there and get the lead, and we did. And got the lead at the right time and got the yellows at the right time. And that green-white checkered there, I think I gave it away about 3 different times. I blew 1 and then I blew 3 right off the green there, but they were battling for second. We were able to pull away just enough to be able to hang on, so that's pretty cool. Like I said, I'm not a fan of this place. It is very difficult to pass. It's hard to be consistent for whatever reason for me here. So like I said, we definitely looked into it.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to ask you, you're looking pretty good in the standings, of course, leading by a bit of a margin. We were talking up here in the booth that you could have just technically came out here and kind of not really pushed the issue or anything like that. But we did see you make some aggressive moves and, of course, able to get the win tonight. As a racer myself, I would have to say that I really wouldn't want to ever try to play it safe. But did that ever kind of run through your mind at all during tonight's event?
Well, I joked about with my teammates that I was just going to start in part tonight because that's how much I really hate this place. But yeah, you're right. When you're a racer, you can say you hate a place or don't want to race or whatever, but I think every racer knows that once the green comes out, all that crap goes out the window and you're going for the win. So yeah, I mean, we're in the playoffs. We're just be aggressive, but don't cause a wreck is basically the name of the game for us.
And one more question I have to ask you. Next week, we go to the dirt track of Eldora, and you are a 2-time dirt champion in the ASRS series, or ASRS League, earlier on this year. So I have to imagine that you're probably looking forward to that one pretty well.
Well, unfortunately, I have prior commitments, so I will not be able to make it next week. But yes, I am very bummed about it because I was very much looking forward to that event. So hopefully one of our MOSRN guys can get it done and keep the perfect streak going there. And we've never lost a race with that truck deal there in the last since it started. I think this is the 3rd one this year. We've won the previous 2, so hopefully one of my teammates can keep that streak alive next week.
Absolutely. Well, we'll just say that your win tonight was kind of retribution for not being able to be there next week for the dirt track. But Jared, appreciate you talking with us. We'll let you go. You got any shout outs for us?
Yeah, I gotta thank Buffalo Bar Grill and Greenwood, South Carolina. I buy Power Computers, Twitchy Race Reports, and all the guys on MOSRN were really clicking off the wins. I haven't been around much the last couple of weeks due to prior commitments, and they've been getting the job done. So it's good to see everybody contributing and getting the wins. And I just gotta thank Jim for the league and you guys for the awesome broadcast and all the other partners with ASRS that make this deal go. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right, Jared. Well, thank you very much for talking with us once again. Go celebrate your win because that is your 4th of the year and looking pretty good points wise. But Carlos, I think you have some results for us somewhere in that expensive box of yours. So go ahead and take them away.
No problem. So once again, congratulations to the 0-0 Jared Mogart getting his 4th win of the truck season. Jared Haggard got himself a much-needed good finish here in 2nd place with Evan Black finishing 3rd. Jamie McKee finished 4th with Brandon Stokes in 5th. Will Wursler got 6th place. Tyler Sobel 7th. Mitchell Brown in 8th, with Richard Stallings in 9th, and Tim Knott similarly coming out of nowhere for that, avoiding all those cars that wrecked on last lap, getting himself a finish that we all thought wasn't going to happen for Tim. So Tim getting himself back in a good position to not miss the playoffs. Going into 11th, I believe, Cam, you got the rest of the drivers.
Yeah, I think this page was all drivers involved in that last wreck outside of turn number 1. Jason Stewart coming home in 11th, Alex Giese in 12th. Jim Foose, we saw him have a rough night coming home in 13th. Dylan Hickey, his first race in the American Sim Racing Series League, he's coming home in the 14th position. Cory Silva, bad night for him. Definitely had the speed to maybe get a win, and just a couple of mistakes meant that he got involved in that last wreck and coming home 15th. Alan Young, we saw him flying through the field and probably taken out of that car on a stretcher, so he's coming home 16th. Doug Mullins involved as well, coming home 17th. Kelsey Rogers 18th. Brian Yazik, another truck who had a lot of speed tonight. Unfortunate circumstances resulting in his 19th place finish, and Brandon Krutz coming home in 20th.
Yes, in 21st, as Tanner likes to call the blackjack position, Jack Wells, Sam Maxwell finishing 22nd, Clarence Bonner 23rd, Christopher Layton finishes 24th, Edward Bray, a position he definitely did not want to finish in 25th after he pretty much barrel rolled into the garage area. Jackson Van Valkenburg in 26th, having those computer issues with Steve Luhala in 27th, and Chris Titus was unable to start the race. So I believe, even though he scored as 28th, he will be scored as did not start. So, Cam, before we wrap up this broadcast, do you have anything you want to say to our fantastic viewers here tonight? All right,
Absolutely.
good talk. Okay, there we go.
Absolutely, yeah. I just want to give a quick shout out to some of the league sponsors we have: Sam Maxwell Customs, Sim Marketing Solutions, Driven Designs, iRacing, Twitchy Racer Sports, iRacingIFlag, Kirkwood Transportation, and Coffman Racing Graphics, as well as some of the partners we have at 3Wide TV, SimTV for cameras, and Thomas Morris for these awesome graphics that we show you guys each and every week. They're very beautiful, so thank you very much, Thomas Morris. You are the man. And one more shout out to all of our viewers, whether you watch the live broadcast or you watch the replays after the fact. We love you guys very much, and everybody that comes out to chat with us, you guys are awesome. We read all of your chats. Don't worry about that. Just might not respond to them because things do get hectic sometimes. But Carlos, I think that's another race in the books. A very good race here from Pocono. We saw a lot of action. We saw a lot of cars on their roofs, and it's not something you always see at Pocono, but definitely a race that was very action-filled from start to finish, and we're coming closer to the playoffs for the Sam Maxwell Custom Truck Series, and you can definitely feel the intensity picking up.
Yes, so another fantastic ending to the STH Graphics 100. Actually, as soon as I say that, I'm kind of worried that I misspelled the name. I was correct. The STH Graphics 100 here at Pocono. I thought this would have been more of a greenfield race. I didn't expect there to be this many cautions, but life will always throw us a wrench. As I'm having another stroke here tonight. I believe this is the 4th or 5th one here in this about 2-hour broadcast. So once again, thank you to all these fantastic people and everybody watching. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week at Eldora.